First of all, I would like to apologize if I ever had hurt anybody in the past. If you were only trying to be nice to me, and I dismissed it as you trying to get too close for comfort, I do apologize. My whole personality lies on a very narrow spectrum of psychology. I have no idea how to engage myself in any form of interaction with another human being. I'm a lost cause. The only source of light in my life is my fading and distant memories of a past life that I used to have many years ago. It's the only thing I am barely holding on to these days. One slip and down the hole I fall. A few months ago, I decided to make one of the most reckless and expensive purchases in my entire life. It was purely out of loneliness and desperation. Growing up in one of Russia's northernmost town with a mother who was struggling with depression herself had contributed to my own doom. I'd been struggling with depression for years, and it got worse when my mother passed away 6 years ago. I had reached the point where I'd already started considering suicide. I had no other family or close friends, and I was forced to swallow all my disappointments over things that did not work out well in my life for me alone. I worked from home, so I didn't have to deal with people directly. My Polish friend, Philip, whom I occasionally bonded with over our mutual interest in photography, suggested that I go to see a psychiatrist. What? That's only what rich people do. I'm not rich. I dismissed it while editing some photos on my laptop. You are not married, no kids, live alone. Nothing to lose. Well, that hurt. But he had a point. That nobody would cry for me if I died. So who cared if I lost my mind tomorrow or the next month? I answered nonchalantly. I care. I'd cry if you die. We are friends, no? That simple and little act of kindness from him was the reason why I finally gave in and reluctantly booked an appointment with one of the most prominent psychiatrists in my town. She was a really nice and patient woman. She would ask if I felt okay today and would like to proceed with our session or not. At first, I was really hesitant to confide in her, a complete stranger. But her kindness and patience finally paid off, and I gradually started to trust her more with each session that we had. She told me that I showed signs of severe social inhibition, and the only way I could deal with it was to try and open up and trust people more, starting with her and my friend Philip. She also encouraged me to be more spontaneous and to stop overthinking too much. Take a long vacation or go shopping, she suggested. But there would be a lot of people there. Exactly. Face your fears. You said you like photography, correct? Why don't you go out and take as many pictures as you can? Select the best pictures that make you smile or remind you of positive thoughts each time you look at them. Print them and frame them on your wall. And so I did. I started with taking candid pictures of passers-by in front of my house. And then I gathered courage to go to the playground nearby, and I took pictures of children and their parents. One thing at a time, she said. And she also told me to reward myself with something nice each time I managed to complete these tasks and overcome the obstacles one by one. I faced my fears. She said that I had been living alone for too long, which was not good in my case. She suggested that I put my house up for rent and to move in with a friend, which was ridiculous. First, the house was the only valuable thing that I'd ever owned, and it held so many loving memories of my dear mother. Second, I am a compulsive hoarder, and I did not think anybody would be patient enough to put up with my antics. But again, I knew she was right. Everything that she had suggested I do up to that point had been proven to actually elevate my self-esteem. So I decided to do something spontaneous like she had suggested earlier. I went shopping. I originally wanted to adopt a puppy. I do not hate animals, just to be clear, but I also don't have any particular interest in them. I think handling pets is time-consuming, and I'm not patient enough to deal with it. But I thought maybe adopting a puppy would be a good thing for me, to learn how to take care of other beings other than myself. And so I went to a nearby animal house where they take in strays from all over town, nurse them until they are ready for adoption. But then on my way there, an email notification blipped on my screen as I saw paying attention to Google Maps. I clicked on it. It was a forwarded message from an unknown sender containing a pamphlet from an unfamiliar company named Depresso Incorporated. The tagline read, "Feeling depressed? Suicidal? Well, it's time to stop. Be positive." I scrolled through the message and realized that it was an advertisement for a recently released smart android robot called Depresso Plus, and that supposedly assists people with mental illnesses in dealing with their anxiety and suicidal thoughts. There were also pictures of a small slender humanoid robot, which came in 3 different colors: dark cyan, maroon, and teal. Its functions were just like any virtual assistant out there. The only differences are it's a fully autonomous robot, and its main purpose is to assist people with mental illness. It can arrange your schedule, remind you to take medication, and even provide some motivational quotes every day to cheer you up and uplift your spirit. It is also equipped with a built-in small cylinder glass pocket on its rear to store a liquid sweet smelling fragrance for relaxation and sleep. And there is also a small flashlight-like protrusion attached on its head that shoots out blue light as soon as you enter the room. And not to mention, it also shows cute happy smiley faces on its screen 24/7 to stimulate positive thoughts. And to top things off, it also has easy access to online interactive websites that deal with mental health without exhausting and never-ending registration steps. It is specifically designed to assist people with mental health problems who are too shy to talk to somebody about it, in fear of rejection because of negative stigmas associated with it. For some obvious reasons, it piqued my interest. It was rather expensive, but not out of my financial reach. I was struggling for a moment. I was ready to adopt a puppy and bring it home to accompany me. But something in me that day told me that Depresso Plus was what I really needed. A companion in the form of non-human interactions. I waited for about a month until it was finally delivered to my house, and by the time I turned it on, the teal little guy who I nicknamed TD, short for Teal Depresso, not very creative I know, started to discharge this really sweet fruity scent that reminded me of my childhood back in the apple farm. Since then, TD had been helping me with my chaotic schedule and my sleep pattern. The first thing he did in the morning was to wake me up with a non-aggressive sounding alarm, and then cheerfully spewed out things like, "Rise and shine, fighter. Remember, you are loved. Love for all, hatred for none. Be yourself, change the world." And other motivational stuff which I'm pretty sure he found online. From time to time, it would also play calming sound effects like beach waves, tropical forest, and rain. I made a mistake once by trying one of its new sounds, which was a whale singing. It gave me nightmares that night. I was drowning in dark water with creepy whales singing around me. I know this may sound ridiculous to some, but as a person with mental illness who feared humiliation and rejection wherever I went, it felt really good sometimes to wake up to that, and not my own dark and painful thoughts. As it turned out, the robot really was as smart as how they had put it in the ad. "It observes and it learns," said the tech guy who came to my house to deliver it. He looked like your typical nerd, with thick glasses and an ever-present wide grin. "It gets smarter the more you interact with it. It'll remember the things that you say." He proceeded to mention that its advanced high-tech voice and facial recognition feature helps determine what mood you're in and will alarm your go-to person via phone call whenever you have anxiety or a panic attack, who in my case is Philip, of course. As it gets even smarter, it will start randomly suggesting things without being asked to do any task first. He also suggested that I adjust my Depresso's humor setting to no higher than 60% for the first week so I can take it seriously. But I decided to set it to 100% immediately. I needed to laugh. TD, will robots ever take over the world? I asked one night over dinner, when I saw him slowly making his way into the dining room. Of course I had to ask him that. Nothing is impossible, senor. His distorted imitation of a human's voice responded. Well, so you will indeed enslave us. I would rather take dogs. Humans are horrible looking. And then his square-shaped torso started bouncing up and down, and a screeching, horrible sound came out as he tried to imitate an evil laugh. Oh. I giggled for the first time since Philip fell off his bike during one of our trips weeks ago. So you think I'm ugly? That's really depressing. No, I don't think you are ugly. I think you are good looking enough. But a little nose job should be okay. I giggled louder. Come on, that's rude, TD. Humans spend too much time on their appearance. Do they know what happens to their faces underground when they die? My smile faded a bit. Okay, that's creepy. I am not programmed to invoke fear in you, as it is not encouraged to do so. But I can do some research for you online. No, thanks. What's my schedule for tonight? I tested him. Your sleep time starts within 2 hours, 4 minutes, 3 seconds from now. Do not forget to take your medicine. Your alarm has been set for 6:15 a.m. Thank you, TD. I would like to recommend you that my fragrance is running out. I can order for you online if you wish for me to. Green apple and peppermint. Please do. It had been about 2 months since TD had arrived, and I'd already started to feel a bit better when things took a dark turn. The only thing that creeped me out about him before was his comment on death, but what he said a few weeks later really sent a chill down my spine. I just finished ordering online food on the small screen attached to his chest when he suggested that I stop consuming junk food because it has been proved scientifically that excessive consumption of junk food may lead to diseases that can reduce lifespan by 10 years. Oh please, TD, not again. I rolled my eyes at him as usual, pretending he's an actual human being. It made me feel calm and relaxed doing that. You will die a horrible death, alone and in immense pain if you do not listen to me. His headlights turning a dark red for a split second as he spoke nonchalantly. What did you just say? I asked him. Really didn't expect that from him. Excessive consumption of junk food is not healthy. No, before that. I do not understand the question. Please repeat. Your sleep time starts in 1 hour, 15 minutes, 27 seconds from now. I stood there for a while, still trying to figure out what had just happened. I wondered if it was only a glitch, and then decided maybe it was the humor setting acting up. TD, set your humor at 80%. His blue light blipped for a few seconds, as it always did when he was processing a command, and then... Done. His light turned green for a second, and then back to its usual fluorescent blue. I turned him off that night for the first time, and I went straight to bed after dinner, still feeling uneasy. I called Depresso Incorporated the following morning, to inform them about this glitch, and they assured me that the only technical error the robots had was getting infected with a virus, and that they had only happened because their owner had opened unsafe websites. I could tell the guy on the other end sounded a bit uninterested and bored, but he told me to call them back again if it ever happened. A few weeks ago, I invited Philip over for dinner, and he came with his wife Alicia and their 10-year-old daughter Amelia. I had been friends with Philip for many years now, so his family already knew what to expect. When the clock struck 8, we were already in the living room talking enthusiastically over glasses of wine about our future trips across Russia. And then, I don't know why, I decided to show TD to them. As soon as I turned him on, he started with the usual greetings. "Good evening. How can I help you tonight?" They all stared at TD in amazement, as if this was the coolest thing they had ever seen, especially little Amelia. After I told him to recognize their voices and faces, TD started to bounce up and down heartily. "More human friends. More slaves in the future. Ha ha ha." I said his humor at 80%. I answered Philip's quizzical look. "Hey, I need to laugh more, don't I?" "Talk to him, sweetie. It's okay," her mother encouraged her. "Do you have friends?" she asked, wide-eyed in excitement. "Yes, my owner is my friend, but his feet smell a bit." Everyone started laughing, including me. I was in a really good mood that night. It had been months since I had people over for dinner, and I really liked Philip and his family. "Go on," I gestured to Amelia. "Would you like to be my friend?" "We are already friends. I recognized your voice in your face. You are Amelia." She smiled and exchanged excited looks with her father. "Do you have a friend, Amelia?" "Yes, I do. Her name is Hannah. I have a picture of me and her at school on my mom's phone. Would you like to see it?" Without waiting for TD to answer, she gestured to her mom, who was already scrolling through her phone gallery to look for the picture. "There." She held the phone out to show it to TD. "Hannah Nowak. Lives on. Address redacted. 9 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days old." "How did it..." Philip's voice trailed off. "Well, it has access to online information. Maybe she's on Facebook?" I asked. "She's my best friend," continued Amelia, not paying attention to the confused look on her parents' faces. "Hannah Nowak. Species, female human. 9 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days old. Nationality Russian. Born on July 5th, 2010. Unspecified as to place of birth. I highly recommend you stop associating yourself with her." This time, I could not help but exchange a stunned look with Philip. "Why is that?" asked Amelia, looking really hurt and confused. "I am sorry. I do not understand the question," replied TD. His blue light is still blipping. "Why do you think Amelia and Hannah Nowak should stop being friends with each other?" "From my observations and calculations of Hannah Nowak's behavior and life condition, there is a high possibility that she will tend to excessive and addictive use of drugs by the early age of puberty. She will also be likely to engage in various practices of unsafe and premarital sex by the age of 13. If the situation had been different, I would have laughed my ass off. But the looks on their faces that night made me realize that they found it too disturbing, even though Alicia tried her best to look convincingly amused as she laughed, though her pale face betrayed her. "I'm so sorry. It must be a glitch with its humor setting. I already toned it down," I said, TD, set your humor at 50%. His blue light blipped. Done. Your sleep time starts in 30 minutes and 17 seconds. Do not forget to take your medicine. Oh, you're going to bed soon? Asked Philip, looking guilty. Never mind, you know I've tried to improve my health. It's important, the psychiatrist says. Oh, hey, how's it going by the way? Pretty good. We've had a good start and it's getting better. Honey, could you please excuse us for a bit and go play games on Mommy's phone in the TV room? Alicia asked her daughter, whose attention was still fixed on TD. Does it speak Polish? She asked. TD, I guess so. TD, activate Polish in your language setting and voice. His blue light blipped again. Dobry wieczór. Amelia's face lit up again. Okay, go play with TD now, said Alicia to her daughter. Don't ask it creepy questions, sweetie. Philip chimed in and we all started laughing nervously. Man, that thing is crazy. Oh, come on. It's helped me a lot with organizing my schedule and stuff. Besides, it feels like I have an actual human companion around the house. This may sound unbelievable, but that robot is actually really good at cracking me up. It may come across a bit creepy, but hey, at least I'm laughing, right? We started talking about my medication, treatments and sessions with my psychiatrist for a bit, and Philip told me that if I ever needed anything, I should never hesitate to ask them for help. It really made me feel good knowing that there were people who genuinely cared about me and my well-being when I myself had almost given up on life. The clock struck 9 and Philip had just only said they needed to go home and let me rest when suddenly, a blood-curdling scream cut through the air. I felt a distinct sensation of cold tingling passing through my chest. Alarmed, we all rushed into the next room and found Amelia sitting on the couch in front of the TV, hugging herself, shaking all over and still screaming, her hands covering her ears. TD was standing right in front of her. Sweetie, what's wrong? Philip lifted her off the couch and pulled her into his arms. It's okay, it's okay. I grabbed the robot hastily and took him out of view and threw it across the hallway, not bothering to check if he got dented or broken from the impact, and then returned to my upset guests. Philip and Alicia were still talking rapidly in Polish, with their obviously trembling daughter, asking her questions, I believed, both looking extremely pale. What happened? I asked. My heart was beating so fast. Is she hurt? God, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have brought that stupid thing out. My eyes had already started to get watery. No, it's okay. I'm going to go outside and calm her down, said Alicia, and then she exited the room with the still hysterical girl in her arms. What was that about? I asked Philip. He didn't answer right away. He stood transfixed as if unable to comprehend what horror that had just revealed itself before his daughter's eyes. It said things. Bad things. Horrible things. He murmured, a distant look on his face. What did it say? It asked her if she was going to move away to Poland after the burial to live with her grandparents. What? What burial? I don't understand. It told her that I have cancer and that there is no cure for it and that I'm going to die soon. But that's impossible. You're joking, right? It's a robot. It does not just randomly tell you shit if you haven't asked anything related to your first questions beforehand. And you don't have cancer, for God's sake. So you say I'm making this up. Amelia made this up. No, I mean, I think we better get going now, my friend. It's okay, don't worry about Amelia. She's a strong kid. She'll forget this tomorrow. You take a rest now and you take care of yourself. Remember, do not hesitate to call me if you need anything, okay? Sleep did not come easily for me that night. As I lie awake, eyes wide open, staring at the dark ceiling of my room, I started wondering if what had happened was only a result of the glitch in TD's system. Another glitch. God, I would make sure Depresso Incorporated knew about this first thing in the morning, I thought to myself. But just like before, they had refused to take full responsibility of what had happened. I literally screamed at the guy at the phone when he matter-of-factly told me the robot is supposedly super smart and quick to learn by observing things around it. So far, there had not been any complaints at all regarding apparent glitches whatsoever. They suggested that I hard reset him and adjust his personality traits manually, no higher than 50% and to call back if the glitch still persists. I snapped at him, saying that if it ever happened again, I would drag it back to the store and make sure their customers know about it. The following week, my worst nightmare came true. Philip had been avoiding me since that awful night at my place. He hadn't returned my calls and messages, and I was so sure I had lost my only friend. And then one afternoon, he called to ask if I would like to meet after work because there was something that he needed to tell me. We met at 7 because I had another session with my psychiatrist that afternoon that TD had reminded me of. He went to have a medical checkup after the day after the dinner at my place and found out that he had a pancreatic cancer. It could be controlled, yes, to prolong his life, but not cured. I think I took it harder than Philip himself. I was beyond devastated. My only friend. I couldn't believe it. But he calmly told me that it was okay, as I started to hyperventilate and bawl my eyes out. He made me promise to take care of his family after he's gone, and to survive no matter what happens. I was not listening to him at all for the rest of the evening. What scared me even more than my friend dying was the fact that what TD had said earlier had proven to be true. And that was the last time that I ever saw him alive. He took his own life a week later. He left a note. He didn't want to be a burden to his family, financially and emotionally. He could not let his wife and daughter watch him die a slow and agonizing death. He left them a small amount of money, and Alicia had no choice but to return to Poland to live with her parents for a while. I don't understand. I could not help but feel there was something wrong about all of this. It just seemed off. I fell back into depression after Philip's death. Long gone were the days when I found a little hope in my friendships with anyone. Philip had been my rock, my voice of reason. I know it was so selfish of me after I made a promise to him that I would take care of his family, but it was all just too much. His sudden death only served as a dark reminder of my own impending doom. I started to drink heavily, which was something that I had never done before. I ignored everybody and I shut my life off, when finally came the scariest night of my life just yesterday. It had been a few weeks now after Philip's death. I was sick and emaciated. I had stopped eating days ago. I didn't even bother to turn the lights back on. I was neck deep in vast darkness, both physically and mentally, soon to be engulfed completely, never to be seen again. But somehow, a little voice at the back of my head that sounded like Philip's kept reminding me to hold on, to keep my head above the water, that I had made a promise. I decided to confront my fears again, to face them. I had already did it once and I was getting better. Don't give up, face your fears. I opened my closet where TD had been resting for weeks and I brought him out. I stood there for a while in the dark and proceeded to turn him on. Soon, his blue light started to blip excitedly, casting long shadows on the walls. A mist of scented air was ejected from his little pocket. My favorite. "Good afternoon. How may I help you?" I stood quiet for a while. I did not know what to say. It's stupid being afraid of this thing. A machine. An appliance. "TD, what is my schedule for tonight?" was all I could mutter. "You were expected to send a clarification email to Mrs. Lee yesterday regarding her wedding photos. Do you like me to reconfirm it?" "No." "Your sleep time starts in 3 hours, 51 minutes, 4 seconds from now." "TD, tell me how to hard reset your system." "To reset my system, please press power button and release after my notification light turns green to confirm. Proceed to reset." "What day is it?" "Today is Thursday." "Thank you." I was about to go back to bed and lie down when suddenly, without being asked, TD started again. "Would you like me to leave a note on your Facebook later?" Its notification light started to dim and look grayish. A blue sad emoji face appeared on its screen. "What note?" "Your suicide note. From my observations and calculations of your behavioral patterns and body language, there is a high possibility that your depression has reached the point of no return, and you will lose the instinct to survive and shift into self-destructive mode within." I lifted it up and threw it onto the floor as hard as I could, and it broke into pieces that were strewn about everywhere with a loud crash. I am staying at a motel now. I dare not go back to my house. I'm afraid I'm running out of time. What should I do?